What's up, Epic 7? It's day number 2 of Ancient Inheritance, and although we've already posted the entire VOD from this morning's stream, I wanted to discuss with you a couple of key takeaways and things we've learned about Ancient Inheritance on the second day. First, I strongly recommend that you split up into multiple elements, everybody focusing on one specific element and maybe a secondary element to back it up. Now, the red, green, and blue elements, they really don't need backup elements so much. They're very self-sustaining. There's plenty of DPS, plenty of support, and plenty of sustain in all of the colored elements. And with red, green, and blue, you can run to the Wardens and drop them like hot potatoes. Focusing in multiple RGBs, maybe not the best choice, but it does give you the flexibility to choose which Warden to go to where your guild needs the most support. If you've got 5 people on the Fire Warden and only 2 people on the Earth Warden, and you chose Fire and Earth, that gives you the potential to go over and help the Earth side. If you teleport into a area where you're really far away from the Earth Warden, but you're really close to the Fire Warden, you've got the flexibility of hitting the Fire Warden. But if you're focusing on red, green, and blue, you're basically a Warden and a mini-boss killer. Own that job, it's huge and very important to the guild. If you focused on Dark, you will be killing the first iteration of Prongo, who will appear on this side of the map, and will continue to be a light Prongo, we believe, throughout Ancient Inheritance. Now, the problem with Dark is Dark doesn't have a lot of support. Especially healers. In fact, Dark doesn't have really any healers. Well, I mean, you've got Specialty Change Inos, and that's about it. The other Soul Weavers for Dark are few and far between and not great at healing. So Dark is a good one to supplement with red, green, or blue, so that you can assist in killing Prongo, and then you can run over and assist with the Wardens. It allows you to take your Dark units into the fight for DPS and back them up. You could run Dark DPS units with Fire Acades, or Ice Montmorency, or Green Destina, or Light Doris. So I think Dark really wants to focus on dual elements and level them pretty consistently together. The other elements can hard focus their main element and work on the backup element maybe later in the floors. Once you kill Dark Prongo, the Wardens open up, and all the Wardens have the exact same kits. The Wardens all block focus. They all block fighting spirit. They all block CR push. So poor Fire Ravi is in shambles. Green Lots won't work. You can't CR push people. He's no longer a great weaver for Warden fights. You'll want to make sure you pick units where having focus and fighting spirit lockdown is not going to harm you. And you want to make sure that you pick units that can kill quickly. My strongest recommendation for all the Warden fights, regardless of who you're fighting, is take a really strong healer. For Fire, consider Acades. For Earth teams, consider Destina. For Water teams, consider Angelica, Montmorency, Amelia. You've also got Ray for your Earth teams. These are all really good, strong healers, and they will help keep you alive. Now, one of the things you'll notice is the Wardens have a skill that says every time they're hit for a 4th time, they will counterattack. Reminds me of a certain expedition boss. And when they counterattack, they will reduce barrier size, and they will reduce your ability to heal. It'll eventually get to the point where you won't heal at all. Your Acades will S3, and you'll get 0 healing. What this means is you need to burst them down quickly, right? And you don't want to waste attacks. You don't want to use dual attack units that randomly can pull Soul Weavers, because every 4 hits, they have this effect where they hit your whole team, and then they reduce your ability to heal and your ability to block barriers very well. So you don't want to use like Fire Lilius and have her pull Fire Acades. That's 2 hits and it didn't really advance you. But taking units like Ross, taking units like Leica, taking units like Kitty Clarissa, these units are okay to take because they're effectively secondary DPS units, because they always pull the highest attack unit and it's worth the double hit. Where I think you will want to focus the most is, like I said, have a Soul Weaver, somebody to keep you healthy. Then have 1 to 2 really strong DPS units, because one always freaking dies. And having two of those 4 hits instead of only 1 of those 4 hits be damaged will help you acceleratingly kill this boss. You want your 4th unit to be support. If you're fighting the green boss, Fire Cecilia is fantastic. She's got defense breaks on her S1. She's a knight, she can mitigate. She's got strips, she's got barriers, she's got attack down. She gives your team immunity. She is a tour de force unit for PvE content. If you're fighting the water boss, you can take Falconer Clury. Now you may be thinking, well, Falconer Clury cycles so much, she's going to proc all of those multiple hits. Well, she won't. Remember, CR pushing is turned down, and her cycling is tied to CR pushing. So she's just a source of passive heals and defense breaks and can wear a knight artifact. Green Leica gives target dual attacks with the highest attack enemy. She is a really nice one to take along with her. She can wear Bloodstone and heal. Zahak. Sid has got a defense break. Green Lilius has penetration and can probably hit like a truck. Now avoid HP scaling units. DDJ turned off. Green Bologna doesn't work. Soul Bad Guy doesn't work. Their skills will just hit with their regular pretty trash mods. They aren't going to do the high damage because the Wardens all are immune to the damage based on HP. For fire teams where you're looking for water units, you can figure this out too, right? You've got Luna, who hits like a truck. You've got Sigrid is going to hit like a truck. You've got plenty of healers. The important thing to remember is take a defense breaker, make sure there's an attack buffer. In a perfect world, you have multiple defense breakers to keep the defense break on the enemy. You got a healer to keep you alive. You got a lot of DPS, and you blitz him down as fast as possible because he's going to be going faster and faster and hitting harder and harder. Once you have defeated all of the Wardens, and hopefully all your elemental people have already migrated to the Warden locations and are ready, so that when Light Prongo dies and the elemental Wardens appear, they'll be ready to jump on them. Then Dark Prongo will appear, and all of your light elemental teams can fall on him and rip him apart. Now, what you should be doing is you should be farming things until your boss shows up. Dark immediately starts pounding on the Light Prongo while everyone else is moving to their locations and farming. The Wardens show up, the elemental heroes are right there ready to go, killing their Wardens, and the Dark team that was attacking the first Prongo can start wandering around and collecting loot. Once the Wardens are all dead, the Light team, who this entire time should have been wandering around and collecting loot and leveling, is ready to go, is ready to attack Prongo. And while they're finishing off the last Prongo, the RGB units and the original Dark team are still out farming, getting loot, leveling up, and getting ready for floor number 2. Once he is dead, the portal will open and we can go on to the next floor. Now let me go into what a couple of these things are. There have been some questions about what these rift things are. These rift things are teleports. And once I believe the Wardens are dead, you can use this teleport and it'll take you to the other crack location. So it's basically just a way for you to get in here and get out without having to take the walk of shame back around. Now you may be asking, how is Takali in this area when this boss hasn't been killed? If you have the Wanderer's Pipe, it lets you teleport, and you can teleport through monsters. So he was able to teleport right through here and pick up this guild chest for us, right here. And he didn't have to waste provisions fighting. These banners. Now I know they say total guild use is exceeded. I think this is content later. I think we're in beta and all the options aren't in yet. I think they're going to let us engage with these banners and destroy them somehow. Maybe use provisions or fight them and kill them. But you can't interact with the banners. What these banners do is they put this dark smoky cloud around monsters that are near them. So I suspect there's probably a banner up here too. And this dark smoky cloud gives the monsters buffs. And by buffs, I mean they increase their, they decrease your Tundra effect on your team. I fought one with no Tundra's Blessing, and it showed me a -1 Tundra's Blessing, and I suffered -30% damage because I was fighting one near a banner. There's no real way to get rid of them, so basically it's just a way to buff nearby enemies, and you have to put up with it and deal with it. These barricades have health. It takes 5 health to take a heart away, so after you use it takes 5 provisions to take a heart away, so after 15 provisions, the barricades drop, and it's just a way for you to be able to get through without having to fight a monster. You don't get experience, or anything from it. It's just if you've got a ton of provisions and no units left to fight, it'll let you progress through an area without having to do a fight. Pound for pound, the fight's always going to be better because you can get experience points out of it. You don't get jack or squat from the barriers. This is a relic shrine. Once you use it, you can pick up a new relic. Much like relic shrines on previous floors, make sure you have room in your relics. Make sure you have a spot open, or you will have to swap out another relic or cancel and you wasted the provisions just looking. This is a lighthouse. And what the lighthouse does is once it's used, and you can see we already used it. First person that uses it. When this lighthouse is used, you'll be able to see the entire floor. The entire map will be open. You won't see monsters or placements, but you can see everything. So without this lighthouse active, everything's shaded out. So it's kind of a nice thing to hit so you can see the whole map. But you know what? We're giving you guys maps. There's a link to one in the description of the video. So I wouldn't fret too much about getting to the lighthouse. Backpacks are worth 50 stamina when you use them. Sorry, backpacks are worth 50 experience points when you use them. So it's always nice to pick the backpacks up. Tombstones, let's see, there's one over here. Tombstones are worth 100 experience points when you use them. And the backpacks have no limit. They're like treasure chests. Everybody in the guild can open them. But the tombstones are limited to 10 uses per guild. So make sure that you view it and you can see there's 5 times left on the tombstone before you walk all the way over there. You certainly don't want to walk all the way over. But you can see the backpacks, there's no usage limit. So you can open them an unlimited amount of time. Everybody in the guild can open them. I think that is about it for the new assets and not knowing what things are. So, we should kill Prongo either tonight or tomorrow morning, and we will be on to floor number 2. Speaking of floor number 2, it's big. When they got rid of when they reduced us to 3 floors, they didn't really change it from floors 1 through 4 to floors 1 through 3. They changed it from floors 1 through 4 to floors 2 through 4. They got rid of the smallest floor because this map is really about the size of floor number 2 last season, right? It's a big honkin' map. I suspect there will be 4 wardens on floor number 2 and all 5 wardens on floor number 3. That's just my hypothesis because we do have data mine assets for light and dark wardens, so we know there are potential of 5 wardens. We assume Prongo will be the same. First iteration will be a light Prongo, you kill him with dark units. Second iteration will be a dark Prongo, you kill him with light units. And that makes sense because nobody wants to retool their entire elemental account. If you feel like you've made mistakes with hero recruiting, go into your enlist section and say, I made mistakes, I shouldn't have picked dark units, and click on them and click withdraw. And you will get a warning that you can only withdraw 10 heroes each season. The entire season, not per day, not per week, entire Ancient Inheritance season. So make sure you're ready to do it. As you can see, I have already withdrawn 6 heroes because I backed out of fire to go dark because we had so few people doing dark. I needed to help with the first Prongo fight. The light Prongo and the dark Prongo have the exact same skill sets. We'll go over this really, really quick because it's the same for both. You've just got to find units to do it. He attacks all enemies with blunt weapon, transferring all debuffs from him to you. So you probably have a defense break on him. He will give you the defense break. So make sure you have immunity before he does this, or the ability to cleanse it, or you're going to be wearing defense break and it's going to hit you hard. Increases hit chance by 100%, so you can't use evasion to avoid it. If he has a buff, he uses consecutive swing, which is basically the exact same skill, except it has 30% defense pen on it, so he hits you a lot heckin' harder. So try to strip him before he does the swing skill. Another one of his skills is he attacks all enemies with chaotic lightning, making them unable to be buffed. This is his first round attack. And it gives him an attack buff. So if your cleansers and strippers are on hand, like say I used hand guy versus the light Prongo, I held his skill. I didn't think getting rid of buff block was that important. I went ahead and S2'd and got rid of the attack buff so that he couldn't use this consecutive swing on me. And then after he did his next skill, which stuns enemies, my hand guy cleansed everybody and gave us immunity, and the immunity made sure that we couldn't get the defense break transferred back. So hand guy was great versus the light team. For the dark team, you'll have to find another way to deal with that. Maybe you'll use Doris for some cleansing. Maybe you'll use Horizon Acades. Will probably be really, really nice for that. I'll find out tomorrow when I hopefully get to fight with my light team, because my light units are much, much better. Destructive Strike dispels all buffs from all enemies before attacking and will always target and will always defeat the target. Ignores effect resistance. This is his finishing move, right? This is his last move. He kills everything. There's no way to survive it. The important thing to know about this move is that he does give plus 50% attack. In this case to light elemental heroes. On the first iteration, he gives this to dark elemental heroes. This skill is the real pisser. This is the transition phase. Remember with the priest last season where you had to have so many debuffs on him or he wiped your team? This is similar, right? With this, he dispels all debuffs from enemies. He loves buffs from enemies. He loves doing that. Attacks with the power of lightning and greatly increases his attack. But it also puts the effect Vitality on him, and Vitality greatly decreases his speed. Now that sounds like a bonus, right? He's moving super slow. He's still getting a CR push, but at least he's going slow. To get rid of this buff, to get rid of this slow buff, you need to hit him 8 times in a row. Now you may be thinking, why would I want to get rid of a giant greater slow debuff? It's because if it's not gone, if you don't hit him 8 times and get rid of it, when he does his attack, he does 30,000 fixed damage to all enemies. I mean, they may just as well say he kills your whole team. Almost nobody's surviving this. So you need to make sure that all of your units are alive and healthy and you stop using non-attack skills. You need to use actual attack skills. Non-attack skills won't count. And as you attack him, this will change into a number 1. You hit him again, number 2, number 3, all the way up when it's and number 7. You hit him one more time, and this goes away, and you won't take the 30k fix, and you'll be able to get into the second part of the phase, where just before that phase, he does a seal. Another good place for hand guy to heal or to cleanse it. You either want to have people that don't care about passive skills, or you want to make sure that you can cleanse this and then start working down Vitality so you can get rid of it. I know, it's a lot. But if you watch the VOD, I have an example of some fights. I will try to give examples of teams in tomorrow's video for the light Prongo fight. Oh, and one other thing. This is an unlikely scenario, but it's an important landmine to miss because, man, this is bad. So this was brought to my attention by one of my colleagues in Bread's map making room. You know the skill Vampiric Touch, right? You put Vampiric Touch on an enemy and it heals you for 10% of the damage you deal. And, you know, this skill is on Haste, Cirilla, it's on the artifact Bloody Rose. Yeah, don't use that in this fight. It is not a good way to supplement your healing. And here's why. Attacks all enemies, transferring all debuffs from the caster. Yeah, they put Vampiric Touch on this guy, he transferred it back to the party, and then proceeded to heal himself for 40% of his health. Basically reversing 3 or 4 other guild members' efforts in damaging this guy. You're trying to lower his health for your guild, not raise it so your guild has to come back in and deal with it later. So don't use any skills that allow you to heal because of a debuff. Don't use Vampirism or Vampiric Touch on Prongo. So, you know, you have been warned. It is an unlikely scenario, but if it saves even one guild from having to hit them twice, multiple times to get the health back down again, then worth it. Anyway, that's all I have for this installment of Tips and Tricks for Ancient Inheritance. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to check us out on Twitch tomorrow, 8 a.m. We'll be live streaming floor number 2. I'll see you there.